Now, these might not be places where you desire to live, but there are people who desire to live there. Okay. You may not desire to live in any of these cities. I desire to live in Brooklyn. I desire to live in New Orleans. I desire to live in Oakland. To me, that says something about the market. But you don't have to always own in the hippest city, right? There are other cities that where you can actually go buy that are on these lists where you could go buy something for $60,000 and literally just by charging basic rents for a duplex or even a single family home, you're actually going to pay that house off in 5 years.
Wake up, it's time to be free. Wake up, was blind, now I see. Wake up, it's time to be me. Wake up, my mind is the key.
Wake up, it's time to be me. Wake up, my mind is the key.
What's up? It's Jullien Gordon with another episode of the Daily Jewels, where I drop nuggets of wisdom to help you increase your degrees of freedom. I don't care how many college degrees you have. The only degree that really matters is your degree of freedom. I don't care how much money you make. The only thing that really matters is how you make money. So I got another real estate question that I wanted to address today, and it was around how to find hot real estate markets for investors. And this is an interesting one because right now I own in Brooklyn, I own in New Orleans, and I own in Oakland. And those are all markets that are really hot right now. How I found those markets actually came to me with the exception of New Orleans. Oakland is where I'm from, and I just always wanted to own where I'm from, and because I eventually intend to make it back there, probably in my later days, make it back to the Bay Area. But Oakland is a hot market right now. A lot of money is spilling over from the Silicon Valley to San Francisco into Oakland in the East Bay. So prices are pretty ridiculous. My good friend and I had been looking for a space to buy, a duplex to buy there, and we were getting outbid quite often. But fortunately this year, we were able to get a duplex in East Oakland, where we're both from, and it's really exciting, and we believe that there's a lot of appreciation value in the home, even though that's not what we accounted for. What we accounted for is actually rents. I'm a cash flow guy, so I look to make sure that the cash flow is greater than the actual expenses of covering the mortgage and insurance and things of that nature. So Oakland is just hot, a hot market. Brooklyn, I moved here when I finished business school, and I was experiencing Brooklyn booming, right? And so, of course, in Brooklyn, the challenge is for people is that you have to buy 3 homes as one, right? You have to buy, because most homes are structured as these 3-family homes, the prices are so high because you're essentially buying 3 homes at the same time. But I saw an opportunity to get in, and I just saw where the market was going because of my experience of it. Barclays Center was being built and things of that nature. Now we got new LaGuardia Airport, etc. I just knew that New York is always just going to be a hotbed. So if you could get in at a decent price point, then you just wanted to. New Orleans, my wife and I made several trips there, just like vacation type trips, and we love it. And we started to see the same patterns that were happening in Oakland and Brooklyn. We started seeing them happen there, and we loved it. We absolutely loved New Orleans. And there was a time where we were considering Austin, because Austin kept coming up in conversations too. Of course, South by Southwest is always going there. New Orleans has Essence Fest. So you hear people's responses and reactions to the cities when they travel there. And so just listening, keeping your ear to the ground. Of course, some other hot markets might be Detroit. Detroit is going to bounce back at some point in time, and they have all these programs to help people get in at a low price, no down payments, etc. Same thing with Baltimore, right, where you see the urbanization of a city that at some point may have been the murder capital. Same thing has happened in Chicago. Like Oakland was a murder capital at one time, right, when I was growing up. And these cities, they turn around. Like when I go back to Oakland, I can't even recognize it anymore. But there's also these lists, and I'm sure you've seen them. I'm gonna do a quick search. Top places to buy a home for millennials or something like that. Where millennials are buying homes, smart assets. So if I go here and click on it, they're gonna give me a list of cities. They said Sioux Falls, South Dakota, Elk Grove, California, Bakersfield, California, Roseville, California, Peoria, Illinois, Cary, North Carolina, Fort Wayne, Indiana, Chattanooga, Tennessee, Anchorage, Alaska, Omaha, Nebraska, and then you can look at you can type in a search like top most affordable places to live. Now, affordable might not be good for a landlord, right? But what tends to happen is that people, these listings are coming up for a reason. And then what happens is people start actually moving to those places because they see Sioux Falls keep coming up. And all of a sudden, when the demand goes up, what happens to the prices? The prices go up. So there was a time where Brooklyn was on the top of that list. There was a time where New Orleans was top 5 on that list. There was a time where Oakland was top 5 on that list. And if you would have gotten in and moved and you had the capital to do so at that particular time, then now you would be at a peak, right? So these listings in some ways foreshadow what's actually going to happen to that market. I don't know where they get all their data from or how accurate they are, but if you see the same city coming up on different listings like this and different searches like this, it's likely that something is really going on there. I'm pulling up top 25 best affordable places to live in U.S. in 2017. Washington, D.C., Charlotte, North Carolina, we thought about there. Tulsa, Oklahoma, Oklahoma City, Columbus, Ohio, Houston, Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, St. Louis, Kansas City, Missouri. Now, these might not be places where you desire to live, but there are people who desire to live there, okay? You may not desire to live in any of these cities. I desire to live in Brooklyn. I desire to live in New Orleans. I desire to live in Oakland. To me, that says something about the market. But you don't have to always own in the hippest city, right? There are other cities where you can actually go buy that are on these lists where you could go buy something for $60,000 and literally just by charging basic rents for a duplex or even a single family home, you're actually going to pay that house off in 5 years, right? So this is how I think about investments. Right now, I want to move towards having all my investments in a single location. And my next big investment will likely be a larger property, like 20 units. And even if I have to sell all of these in order to get that, I just think it's easier once you can actually have a property manager. You can have enough rents that a property manager can stay on site and manage the whole operation for you. So that's what I'm moving towards. But if you are just starting out, this is how you can find that first duplex. And that first duplex and that first multifamily or income generating property is just such a great feeling. We've been lied to about the single family homes. Single family homes I've seen trap more people than I've seen free them, because a single family home is not putting money into your pocket. It is not an asset, right? Appreciation is not guaranteed. And so see, I've seen a lot of people get stuck with single family homes. And so I really encourage you, if you haven't bought a home yet, to try to save up a little bit more to make that first home you get a duplex, so that one side, essentially the game of a duplex is one side of the duplex is actually covering the entire mortgage. Then you have to cover some expenses, but that one side actually covers the mortgage, and that's what starts to free you and liberate you. I know my good friend, Kazi here has a multifamily in LA. He went through the NACA program, and so there are all kinds of options out there. I just highly encourage you to skip the single family game, because then you have to work on that mortgage, dig a hole into that mortgage before you actually step out and buy income generating property. So why not just start with income generating property? I believe you'll get to your dream home faster that way and in a more financially secure way. All right. So this is Jullien Gordon with another episode of the Daily Jewels. I hope that this one has blessed you. Can't wait to see you get that first multifamily property. It's one of the most powerful forms of investment that is out there. And let me know when you do. All right. Peace.
I hope these mindsets, metaphors, and methodologies blessed you. If you desire more freedom, go to getfreenow.com to subscribe to the show on iTunes, YouTube, or Facebook, and get 4 of my best courses in the Freedom School for 100% free.